my fascination with the fantastical, look, especially when you would be traveling around India in the 70s and the 80s. I remember my train was held up in Alipurdwar in West Bengal because there was a strike in Assam. This was 1979, I think. And so I think it was like 24 hours. We were sitting there in the station, and I wandered out, and there was a Jadawala, Madari, an Indian magician, performing in the square outside the railway station. He did the basket trick, where a little boy climbs into a basket barely big enough to fit him, and the magician just starts stabbing the basket with this sword. And the boy's screaming when he lifts the sword out. That's covered in blood, and the onlookers are just horrified. And the final act of this trick is where he lifts the boy up out of the basket with the sword. It was like a very large knife through his neck, and lifts the boy up and basically shows the boy. And to me, this was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen, because to me, I could not see that it doesn't seem like there was any possibility of any trickery involved. There was no brace. This knife went through the boy's neck. So that was I guess my introduction to Indian magic. And then when I was writing the Mysterious Mr. Jacob, which is about Alexander Jacob, who had a curio shop in Shimla. He was a man of mysterious origins. He occupied that liminal space between East and West. He was a diamond trader. He was a merchant. He traded in secrets. He was a spy. And he was also the inspiration for Lurgan Sahib in Kipling's Kim, if any of you have read it. But it was the magic that he did, inviting people to his drawing room, getting a walking stick and making a grapevine grow out of it, and giving his guests fresh grapes that had magically appeared from this walking stick. That got me interested in magic. But what particularly fascinated me, and still does, is this intersection between East and West. How did Indian magic influence Western magic, and vice versa? Why were Indian magicians donning top hats and tuxedos and going to the West and calling themselves Professor Alvaro or Professor this or whatever, and performing Western magic on the Western stage despite being Indian? And why were Western magicians donning turbans and sherwanis and calling themselves the Fakir of Shimla, the Fakir of Jaipur? There was a Fakir of Jaipur, there was a Fakir of Ulu, and bringing Indian magic to Western audiences. So Houdini first performed at the Columbia exhibition in Chicago, dressed as an Indian fakir. Okay, before he started doing his handcuff tricks and whatever. As soon as Houdini started doing those handcuff tricks, Indian magicians in India were doing it, and even better than he was. So, this fascinating intersection between East and West is what I wanted to bring out in that book.